Hello, hello, welcome to another Board Deck and Dice opinion. Today we are looking at Guardian's Call, and I'm just going to talk through the objectives of the game. As usual, I'm not going to go too much into the actual gameplay, just give you a kind of overarching overview. Before that, I want to show you the box. Look at that, that's amazing. I haven't got all these pieces out because there's no need. Those are score tokens there, coins there, the rest of the minis, first player thing, and then these are how you track who you've offered cards to. You can only offer cards to a certain amount of players before you have to offer them to everyone before you can. So if I've offered to this person, then I can't offer to this person again until I've offered to everyone else, essentially. So that's how you track who you offer cards to, and I really like that because it means that you can't just pick on the same person. The game has a castle track, which is going to give you points for depending how far you are up there. There'll be a big deck of Guardian cards, which I'll talk through what's in there in a minute, and somewhere down there will be the Council and the War phase. The Council is kind of past midway phase that lets you know the end is coming, but also lets you score the castle and the quests that are appropriate. And then the war will be the end of the game, where you will score the castle, the quests, and everything else that you've collected. So each player will have their own player mat, which details what you get for collecting each of the cards. So artifacts give you spells, shields give you points, villages move you up, curse, you have to take a negative effect. Weapons will give you the most, and spells can be assigned to any other type of card. You're going to be collecting cards into your hand with a limit of 6, and into your tableau where you collect them in their specific types. So there are weapons, shields, artifacts, spells, curses, and villagers, as we've just seen. There'll be a row of 5 of these out, and on your turn, you can fill your hand up to 6 by taking from the top of the deck or taking the ones you see on the row. Also, you may buy any of those on the row for 3 coins and put them straight into your tableau. So if you didn't want anyone else to get weapons and you had loads of money, you could take that, and hopefully no more will come out for the other people. Also, you have an affinity with one type of card, and you'll gain 1 coin for each artifact you receive in an offer. The coins mainly come to you through offers, but you know, there's some other ways to get them as well. You can get them when you suffer an effect of a curse, and when losing any offer. When you don't get to add anything to your tableau, you get to get a coin. Now, there will be 3 joint quests available for the whole game. So there's all these quests. You'll only use 3 a game. For example, the Strength of the Seal, have the fewest spell of all players, and that triggers at war, whereas some will trigger at the Council. So there's those as well. Treasures are earned by getting artifacts, and treasures are like give you points and sometimes an ability as well. Exchange 1 Guardian card with another player, draw 2 cards, add 1 to your tableau, discard the other, and so on. The more points they're worth, the less good they are for you, and sometimes they'll even help other people. So once you've got your hand up to 6, you can make an offer to another person. And the way offers work is you can only offer the same type of card. So if I had these in my hand, I can only offer really, say these are the 6 I had, I could only offer artifacts really, because that's the only one I've got multiple of. And you can tell them what they are as long as you don't say curse. And basically they're trying to guess if you're telling the truth or not. So if I say there's 2 artifacts, if they say it's true, then they win because it is true. But if I say that's 2 swords and they say it's true, they lose. But if they say false, they win it. There's no sneaking in extra cards of different types, no lying about the numbers. It's very simple. You give 1 type of card and you say what it is, and you're either believed or not. When the war card comes out, you're going to score up all the various different points, and the person with the most points is the winner. Hello, welcome to a board deck and dice review of Guardian's Call from Skybound Games and Druid City, which is basically a kind of riff on Sheriff of Nottingham, the main gameplay loop being the offer of those cards and whether they are true or not. And I'm just making sure I've got it correct in the overview, but basically you can only offer one type of card, and if the player guesses right, then that's bad for you. Whereas if they guess wrong, it's bad for them. About the truthfulness of your claim, that is. And that is all abstracted out into what cards you get, is how you score points, weapons and shields are collected, villagers let you climb up the castle track, artifacts can be exchanged for treasures. You can always try and get someone some curses, and each of your characters will have their own special card that gives them more points. I enjoyed the game well enough, but for me it didn't really do enough to replace Sheriff of Nottingham. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, I feel like this Sheriff of Nottingham is more about the pure bluffing. That is the main thing you're doing, and it is the main thing you're doing here, but there's more little added little bits on the side which distract from that. And it just, in Sheriff of Nottingham you have the bags, you've got the one player as the sheriff, it just feels a lot better. I felt a lot more engaged by the idea that I had pulled one over the sheriff, or that I'd got away with something, or that I'd made them open my bag when they didn't really want to. And there's just a lot more subtlety in that bluffing system, I would say. Whereas here, the kind of simplification to it just being one card, it kind of works, but it kind of also makes it not as fun somehow. I also think this theme is kind of less integral to the bluffing than in Sheriff of Nottingham. That makes a lot more sense, that you're trying to get your wares into Nottingham and the sheriff is going to stop you. The only disconnect is that one of you is the sheriff each time, and that's ridiculous unless the sheriff was doing such a terrible job that he got sacked and then you put in a really killer application and CV and got the post yourself. But that being said, why would me as one adventurer give you swords as another adventurer? It just didn't make complete sense to me on that level either. Having said that, I think some people who find Sheriff of Nottingham too focused on that side of things will find a lot to like here. As always with Skybound and Druid City games, the production quality is top notch. The insert is practical and effective. The rules are done well. The miniatures in here, which aren't really needed if I'm honest, but they look good. They work well. They're coloured to the same colours as the player pieces. It does nothing particularly wrong. It's just Sheriff of Nottingham exists, and that is it for me. So what I will say is the rulebook is good. I only struggled with the kind of bluffing aspect because it is slightly different to Sheriff of Nottingham, which I'm used to, so it catches me out. So again, not the game's fault. The intimidation factor, I think it's about level with Sheriff of Nottingham. There are other things to do, but it's just what the cards trigger off. Yes, there's more than just set collection, but it's not that much more. So I'm not going to penalise it for that. Will it be staying in my collection? Well, unfortunately, Sheriff of Nottingham exists. So for Guardian's Call, it will not be staying in my collection, but I will happily play this at any opportunity. And I would not hesitate to recommend it to people who like bluffing games and want something with a bit more of a sideshow around the bluffing. And that's my thoughts on Guardian's Call. Thanks very much for watching Board Deck and Dice. We'll see you next time.